E.N.D here, one of the most interesting teasers that Mark Rosewater gave us for Murders at Karlov Manor is a keyword mechanic from over 15 years ago, not printed in a premier set, will make a return on a single card. The non-premier sets from 15 years ago, that is 2008, were Morning Tide and Eventide. This really narrows down the range of mechanics that could be returning. Also, many of these mechanics are quite high on the storm scale. Ultimately, I believe that Retrace seems like it could be the most likely mechanic to bring back in a murder mystery themed environment. Retracing your steps to help you find something can be essential. Retrace is a keyword ability that allows the player to cast the card from their graveyard for its mana cost plus the additional cost of discarding a land. Usually spells with the ability Retrace are instants or sorceries, but there is one permanent, the Planeswalker Vren N6, that grants Retrace to instants or sorceries via an emblem. But how do you play Retrace? Let's build our battlefield. Let's say that this area is our graveyard, and I'm going to cast from my hand Una's Grace. Una's Grace is 2 and 1 blue. Instant. Target player draws a card, Retrace. As the spell has been casted from my hand, normally without the Retrace, I don't need to pay any additional cost. And as always, it will go into stack. There can be a counter, there can be a response. If nothing happens, the spell will resolve. I will target myself and I will draw a card. Una's Grace, if able, will end in the graveyard. As Una's Grace is in my graveyard, I can cast it when able. And because Una's Grace is an instant, I can cast it at instant speed. If Una's Grace was a sorcery, I could cast it only at sorcery speed. Because Una's Grace has retraced, I can cast it from my graveyard. And to cast it from my graveyard, what I have to do? Pay 2 and 1 blue, the casting cost of Una's Grace, and discard a land. When casted for the retraced ability, Una's Grace, it's a normal instant spell, therefore it will go on the stack. There can be a counter, there can be a response, nothing happens, and Una's Grace will resolve. I will target myself and I will draw a card. As Una's Grace resolves, it will go again back in the graveyard. As Una's Grace is again in the graveyard, I can cast it again, and again, as much as I discard the land and pay its mana cost, thanks to its Retrace ability. Some notes: casting a card by using its Retrace ability works just like casting any other card, with two exceptions. You are casting the card from your graveyard rather than your hand, and you must discard a land card in addition to its any other costs. A Retrace card cast from your graveyard follows the normal timing rules for its card type. To cast a Retrace card from your graveyard, you must pay its mana cost as well as discard a land. When a Retrace card you cast from your graveyard resolves or it's countered, it's put back into your graveyard. If able, you may use the Retraced ability to cast it again, and again. If the active player casts a spell that has Retraced, that player may cast that card again after it resolves, before another player can remove the card from the graveyard. The active player has priority after the spell resolves, so they can immediately cast a new spell. Since casting a card with Retraced from the graveyard moves the card onto the stack, no one else would have the chance to affect it while it's still in the graveyard. So this is how you play Retrace. Let's see if Murders at Karlov Manor will give us some crazy spell with this returning mechanic. Leave me a comment below. What do you think about this returning mechanic, even if on one card? And as always, subscription button is here. Subscribe to my channel for more and more interesting videos about Magic the Gathering and the collectible world.